Hello, Criminal Justice Administration learners. You are now starting Unit 5, the last unit within the Criminal Justice Administration course. Just a few points that I want to make on these final 4 chapters and the final 3 modules. The first module in this unit is a 2-week module, and it involves reviewing Chapter 13 on ethics in criminal justice and looking at Chapter 14, which is the chapter on labor relations and union activity and civil liability, and understanding the importance of those activities in criminal justice administration. Then there is a module specifically focused on budgeting and fiscal administration, and the final module is on technology. We have just completed the course project, and what remains to be done in Unit 5 involves just 2 assignment activities. There will be 1 discussion, which is actually due in the 2nd week of module. Let's see, what module are we in? Module 12. And the prior week, there is 1 assignment which is due on ethics. And ethics is a very important topic, and I hope you will enjoy doing the assignment and doing the readings in that chapter. Your assignment relates to making a determination and explaining your reasons why accepting or not accepting minor gratuities in law enforcement should be considered an ethical issue, or whether you consider it something that should be allowed as the normal in terms of the activities of law enforcement in the community. I really want you to take a close look at the Withrow and Daly model for circumstantial corruptibility, and also to understand the concept of slippery slope, where it's possible that in the beginning, in minor things that are done for law enforcement or in corrections or in the courts, favors may seem unimportant and insignificant, but there's always the possibility that these kinds of things can begin to be expected, and that we can find that we move from just friendliness to actual ethical violations. So I hope you enjoy reading that the chapter for that part of the course. The chapter on unions and unionization primarily talks about the different approaches to collective bargaining. I'm not sure whether you realize that in New York State, public employees are extensively unionized, and generally, if you go into criminal justice, you will become part of a union, or you are likely to become part of a union. Public sector unions are on the rise. They have increased in number over the years, while private sector unionization, or unions in business, have been on the decline. But it's important for you to understand union requirements and how collective bargaining works, and in particular the issue of whether or not public employees can and should be allowed to strike. I'm not sure whether you realize it or not, but in New York State, strikes are not allowed. They are illegal, and there are extensive penalties to any public employee who does participate in a strike, including losing their permanent status in their job. So look closely at the materials on unions and unionization. And then in the last 2 chapters, in the final 2 modules of the course, the one on budgeting and fiscal administration, please read through the chapter on budgeting and fiscal administration. I would like you to emphasize your readings in the area of the budget process and the steps in the budget cycle, And don't pay too much attention to that introductory section on the impacts of fiscal cutbacks during the Great Recession about 10 years ago, because right now the fiscal climate is quite different than it was when the book was written and when that chapter was written. And then the final chapter is on technology, technological advancements, how law enforcement and corrections and the courts are using technology to enhance operations. Of course, you'll be looking at the issue of video cams and then other technology like license plate readers and technology that's used to apprehend criminals and technology that's used in the courts to enhance the court process. And some technology that is more commonplace now in corrections organizations. When you reach the conclusion of Unit 5, there will be a unit test for Unit 5, and that's due just a few days before we go to the final exam. In a few weeks, I will give you more information about the upcoming final exam. It is a comprehensive final exam. So be sure that you read through and complete the Unit 5 assignments. There are only 2. I've dropped the case study because there's so little time to get things done coming up toward the final exam. And so there won't be a case study on budgeting. That's been dropped. There'll just be a discussion item also an assignment, and then there'll be the Unit 5 test, which is due just 2 days before the actual final exam period, which will be a 4-day period during the final exam week. I hope you enjoy Unit 5 and the activities involved, and look forward to getting your feedback in the discussions and in the activities of Unit 5.